Hello, Namaskar, and welcome to Talking Point Blank. Now, आज Talking Point Blank पे I'm going to talk about Middle East, स्पेशली जो गाज़ा में डेवलपमेंट हो रही है और जो वहाँ पर डील चल रही है. डोनाल्ड ट्रंप ने कल ट्वीट किया है फिर से कि अगर हमास डजंट स्टॉप किलिंग पीपल विच दे हैव बीन मैंडेटेड नॉट टू किल, देन वी विल गो बैक इनटू गाज़ा and we'll start killing again. Basically, what he's saying is that, the deal, the 20-point deal he had suggested is something which is still on a very fragile note. It is still something which has not been, you can say it's not a concrete solution which has happened. And that is where the Gaza deal is heading. But interestingly, if you remember, I told you that, when you look at peace deals and when you look at the history of Israel and history of Palestine and the peace deals, whether it was Oslo Accord or, subsequent the Rai River Accord jo hua tha, between Clinton and Netanyahu was the prime minister that time. That time also they had a similar problem. See, the problem with Palestine and Israel is that they're too comfortable sharing their prisoners and sharing their hostages. That is something they have always agreed to. That is something which has always happened, and that is what happened this time as well. The Hamas went ahead and released those remaining 20 hostages and have said that they're going to release the dead bodies. They're going to return back the remains of those dead bodies. The Israelis are okay with letting go the captives they have in their jails, Hamas operatives and sympathizers. The real challenge comes moving ahead, and that is where the real problem lies. Hamas is not ready to give up its weapons. Hamas is not going to give up its weapons and surrender. I think that is where the main issue is going to start in the Middle East. For example, अभी pressure बहुत है, कतर से भी बहुत pressure है कि ये deal जो है ये it has to be concretized. ये deal जो है ये complete करनी है और there has to be peace in Middle East. Gaza needs to be settled. The Americans are also looking at getting in the Pakistanis to do the dirty work and rebuilding the Arab countries, Saudi, Jordan, Qatar, or Lebanon. All these UAE, all these countries, even Turkey to some extent, are of an opinion that they would send in the money for the rebuilding of Gaza, rebuilding of houses, rebuilding of hospitals, rebuilding of schools. That is a plan which they are envisioning for themselves. But the reality on the ground is, and this is very, very important. See, any peace deal to succeed on the ground, you need to prepare your people for peace. The problem with this one also was the moment the peace deal was, announced, both sides declared victory over each other. If you look at Al-Anbar and Al-Anbar's slogans in Palestine, in Gaza, and if that is how you celebrate peace, that is how, you say that peace has come by using such provocative slogans, then peace has not come. The problem is with the leadership of, Middle East, especially the leadership which resides, which let me be honest, leadership of Hamas. And before that, it was the problem with PLO as well. It was Yasser Arafat as well. Because in Oslo Accords, and after that, when he went back, he called it as a victory of jihad. And he said, oh, we have won and we are going to have the Israelis want to make a peace deal. The problem is, unless and until you don't sell the idea of peace to your people, unless and until you don't tell people that, we are giving you peace between the two, unless and until you don't celebrate it as a political or a military victory and say, see what we have done and this is what we can do again, you will never have peace on the ground, because in people's mind, you're not instilling peace. You're giving them a false sense of victory on a battlefield. So maybe that they amount to ceasefire, and maybe, they think it's a ceasefire, but in the reality, it turns out that there is no real peace on the ground. So I think, before, they want to rebuild Gaza, they really, really need to, send a very clear message saying that this is not a victory of any sort. This is not a victory over Yahuds. This is not a victory over Israel. This is something where both sides have suffered and both sides have realized that peace is important. War is not a solution. Peace is a solution. In Middle East, for example, and it is very, very unfortunate, you will never, ever hear, any leader who from Palestine or from Gaza saying that, War has brought a lot of miseries. People of Gaza, people of Jordan, people of West Bank need to live in peace and not in war. They always celebrate a peace deal as a victory in war. And unless and until that messaging doesn't change, I don't think anything is going to happen in longer term in the Middle East, especially in Gaza. With Hamas, the negotiations are still on. Will they surrender? And will their surrender trigger PIJ to come up as a proxy organization? Only time will tell. But what I think for now is that this peace is very, very fragile. Will this go through? Will this not go through? There are a lot of interest. Pakistanis are salivating because they're going to get money for it. But at the same time, they're preparing a new bunch of jihadis to send in that area in case the peace falls off. The Pakistanis are working on it. And that is what I explained in my yesterday video as well about the TLP and its protest as well, right? So I hope I just wanted to do a very short update on this and wanted to give you this. And yes, another short update for you is that Taliban and Pakistan are going to have peace talks in Qatar. So Qatar is becoming, a jihadi roundtable where people come and basically try to resolve their issues. I hope you have a very good Diwali. I wish you, your family, your friends, your acquaintances a very happy Diwali, a very prosperous Diwali, a very nice Diwali. Diwali filled with love, joy, bundle, and safety for each and every Indian. My heartfelt wishes to all of you. Happy Diwali. I'll see you after Diwali. Till then, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.